Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you my journey into FPV. It's only been a couple months, so I'm still learning. However, I've been able to get some really cool shots like the ones you saw on that intro sequence, and I've been documenting my progress, so I thought it'd be a good idea to make a video and share it with you guys in case someone out there is thinking about getting into FPV. Hopefully this will help you decide. So the first thing that I did was a lot of research, and I decided to go with the DJI FPV system, meaning the DJI goggles, the controller, and the DJI air unit on the quad. And for the quad, I decided to go with this small, it's called a Cinewhoop drone. So it has these ducts around the propellers, which allows you to just bump into things and you can fly around people safely, and it's a lot easier to handle than the bigger quads. So this is perfect for beginners, and this is basically why I went with this one for my first drone. So with the controller, I was able to start hitting the simulator, and it was a lot harder than I thought in the beginning, but after a while you start getting the hang of it, and I started putting in about maybe 20 to 30 minutes of practice every day for a couple of weeks. And after about 25 hours of gameplay, I've been able to do stuff like this. So once I was really comfortable with the simulator, it was time to test it out in the real world. However, you have to activate all the components first and bind them together. I'm not going to go too in depth into this process because there's tons of videos out there that explain how you can do this. But essentially all you do is connect the goggles to the computer, activate it through the DJI app. Same thing with the controller and the DJI air unit. And then you link them together. You turn on the drone and you basically click a little button here to link it with the goggles and the controller, and that's basically it. It's something that you only have to do once and you're good to go. So we have to talk about batteries because obviously they're a big part of this. Now the main thing is that the batteries depend on the motors that your drone has. So for example, this one has 6S motors, meaning that the batteries that I should use for this drone should be 6S batteries. However, you can actually use a 4S battery on a 6S drone and it will basically make it fly with less power. So I would recommend getting a 6S drone and getting a couple of 4S batteries in case you want to, tame it down and not use it at full power. It'll fly a lot slower and you'll have better control of it in the beginning. And if you want, full potential, then just put the 6S battery and go for it. Alright, so moving on, for the first few flights, I would recommend that you focus on the basic. Flying low to the ground, arming, disarming, and making sure everything works, getting used to the goggles. I actually thought I was going to get motion sickness when I started, but thankfully it hasn't happened. So just make sure you get accustomed to everything, and you see how similar it is to the simulator, which I must say I was pretty blown away by how well it translates to real life. Now don't worry, you're still gonna crash, so be mentally prepared for that, and just don't do anything crazy on your first few flights that you may break the drone or something like that. Now I must say this little Cinewhoop right here is excellent for slow cinematic flying, and you can go through tiny places with it. The downsides of this Cinewhoop, I would say, is the wind. It's not excellent to fly outside in even like mild windy conditions. It's gonna get tossed around. So this is perfect for those one take shots where you just you enter a spot and you can show different scenes around. I'm really excited to create some stuff with this drone. So after flying with the Cinewhoop for some time, I wanted to level up, so I went with this guy right here. This is the Nasco 5 from iFlight. It is a 5-inch freestyle quad, so it's meant to do all kinds of flips and tricks in the air. It's super smooth, and this is something that in comparison with the Cinewhoop, you can actually fly in windy conditions and it handles the wind perfectly. Now I'm not the greatest freestyle pilot yet, obviously I'm still learning, but I did my first power loop just recently and I'm really excited about that. However, I've crashed this thing so many times already, and I actually destroyed one of the motors, so I had to solder a motor into there. But it came out great. It actually worked. The motor's still working, so I'm very happy with this drone. You can dive with it. You can you can fly pretty far away. I wouldn't say this is long range, but you can do almost anything with this drone. Alright, so my next level up from the Nasco 5 is the iFlight Chimera 7. This is a long range quad, and this is perfect for just flying out really far into mountains or whatever it is that you want to dive and explore. It also has a bigger battery, so it actually has a longer flight time. This quad also comes with GPS rescue. It has a built-in GPS, which basically allows you to return the quad home, but it's not like the DJI Mavic drones where it's gonna, return home and land itself. This, you have to take over control. It'll just basically fly up and go back to where it took off, but it's expecting you to actually take control of the drone and land it yourself, because if not, it's just gonna crash. All right, so one last thing that I want to talk about is the camera, and the camera that I use is the GoPro Hero 8. I have used the Hero 9, but because the 9 and the new 10 are a little bit heavier, they're gonna drain the battery a lot faster. So the Hero 8 is smaller, it's lighter, and the quality is still excellent. What I do is basically I disable the stabilization on the camera, and I just run the footage through an app called Real Steady, and it just makes the smoothest footage ever. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.